Welcome to this explainer. What if I told you that the age of the AI native company isn't just some distant sci-fi pipe dream? It's literally already here. Today, we're diving into a pretty chilling structural shift that's happening across the global workforce right now. Companies are suddenly discovering they can generate absolutely astronomical revenue with dramatically fewer people. Let's kick things off with a reality that frankly sounds impossible. $1.8 billion. In April 2026, a telehealth startup called Medvi hit this staggering projected annual revenue. Obviously, that's a massive number for a new company, but get this, the revenue isn't actually the most shocking part of the story. The wildest part? Just one single human employee. Founder Matthew Gallagher achieved this massive scale right from his home using a $20,000 initial investment and essentially zero staff. How? Well, he utilized a stack of AI agents like ChatGPT, Claude, and Midjourney to do all the coding, marketing, and daily operations for him. The AI essentially handled the customer layers while he just rented the necessary medical infrastructure. And look, this wasn't some random accident or a glitch in the matrix. Top AI executives explicitly predicted this exact timeline years ago. Take Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei. He went on record stating that the first billion-dollar company with one human employee would happen in 2026. He gave it high odds, and wow, it played out exactly as he forecasted. All right, moving into Section 1, the corporate AI takeover. So we're shifting from the insane agility of solo startups to massive, recognizable corporations who are quietly, and honestly, sometimes not so quietly, mimicking this playbook to eliminate thousands of jobs. Take the multinational banking giant Standard Chartered. They announced plans to eliminate 15% of their corporate roles. That's roughly 7,000 jobs, and they were surprisingly explicit about why, aiming to replace what leadership actually called lower-value human capital with advanced digital systems in their back office. And hey, it's not just the finance sector. Microsoft laid off thousands of programmers back in 2025. This wasn't just a simple economic restructuring either. CEO Satya Nadella openly noted that 30% of the company's code is now written by artificial intelligence. Let that sink in. The very people building the software are being augmented and in a lot of cases entirely replaced by it. A lot of the general public still thinks AI replacement is this vague future problem. But as we can see from these recent industry cuts, major companies are actively executing a structural transition right this second. Duolingo cut contractors for an AI-first translation model. Intuit let thousands go to pivot to AI-driven services. IBM impacted 8,000 HR roles using automated agents. This is an active cross-industry reallocation of labor, and it's happening everywhere. Which brings us to Section 2, agents replacing entire departments. The explosive core of this whole issue is that companies aren't just replacing a single worker with a neat new software tool. They are replacing entire departments with autonomous agents. We've shifted from AI that just answers your questions to AI that manages entire complex workflows. Let me introduce you to Devin, developed by Cognition AI. Devin isn't just some coding assistant. It is literally the world's first fully autonomous software engineer. Valued at $26 billion, Devin manages entire development pipelines, plans out multi-step projects, and even patches bugs all on its own. To really understand the scale of what we're talking about, look at Nubank. They had this massive 8-year-old legacy software system that desperately needed to be rebuilt. The traditional human approach? That would require over 1,000 engineers working for multiple years. The AI approach? They simply assigned a parallel fleet of Devin agents. The whole thing took just weeks, and it gave them a 20 times cost savings. When you look at the brutal efficiency mathematics of AI, compressing years of human labor into a few weeks, human employees suddenly look like a very, very high-cost alternative. It really forces us to take a step back and ask, are we moving toward a work-optional society, or are we just looking at a society where the middle class gets completely hollowed out? By the way, if you are finding this deep dive helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an explainer. Because as we're about to see, $1 billion company just realized they made a massive mistake with this technology. Okay, let's pivot to Section 3, the billion-dollar plot twist. So here is the twist that most people miss entirely. Running a company purely on code is a heck of a lot messier in reality than it is on paper. In what the tech world now calls the Klarna Effect, the fintech giant proudly replaced the equivalent of 700 customer service agents with an OpenAI-powered chatbot back in early 2024. But by late 2024, the AI was seriously struggling with edge cases and compliance issues. Customer satisfaction totally cratered due to unresolved complex billing disputes. And by mid-2025, they were quietly reversing course.
Klarna's CEO, Sebastian Siemiatkowski, actually came out and openly admitted this failure. He said they focused way too much on efficiency and cost, entirely at the expense of sustainable quality. The AI just lacked empathy. It couldn't handle the emotional context of a frustrated customer. Guys, it got so bad they literally had to pull highly paid software engineers away for development just to answer customer support tickets. Eventually, they just gave up and rehired human agents.
Actually, even the $1.8 billion solo company we talked about at the start, Medvi, experienced this exact vulnerability. Their chatbots started fabricating and hallucinating drug prices. And because there was literally only one human employee, the entire burden of manual correction and the total financial liability fell squarely on the single owner. This is what's known as the cognitive limit of the human backstop. One person can only fix so many AI mistakes before the whole system just breaks down. So, if going a 100% automated is too risky, what actually works? Well, the successful model is a hybrid approach. Look at Octopus Energy. They used an AI tool to generate automated email drafts, but those drafts were strictly reviewed and sent by actual human team members. They automated the volume of 250 employees, but because humans were in the loop to catch errors and add a personal touch, customer satisfaction actually increased from 65 to 80. Human judgment paired with agentic speed. That right there is the winning formula.
All right, on to Section 4. Which jobs will survive?
So, if companies are finally learning from these failures and shifting toward a hybrid model, which careers are actually safe? Well, according to the World Economic Forum, we're looking at massive job displacement. We're talking around 85 million jobs globally. Now, the optimistic flip side is that 97 million new roles will supposedly be created. But the real danger here isn't that work disappears entirely. The danger lies in the gap between the destruction of the old jobs and the creation of the new ones. It's about who gets caught in that brutal transition. Honestly, the most chilling implication of this whole automation trend is the permanent destruction of the junior talent pipeline. Think about it. By automating 90% of routine, entry-level tasks, like basic coding, basic research, and data entry, corporations are quietly dismantling the very training grounds that young professionals desperately need to acquire context, learn how the business actually works, and eventually become future leaders. We're seeing a very clear, defining split in the labor market right now. Jobs facing direct AI substitution are mostly those that process digital files or handle high-volume repetitive inquiries. Contrasting this are the insulated roles: healthcare, trades, high-level strategy, and therapy. These roles are protected by human moats. They require deep empathy, physical presence in unpredictable environments, and complex, open-ended judgment. So, if you want to survive the automated enterprise, your career absolutely must anchor on these 4 human traits. Generative AI simply cannot replicate physical dexterity in unpredictable, real-world spaces. It can't fake genuine therapeutic or medical empathy. It doesn't have licensed ethical accountability, where a real person has to go to jail if things go horribly wrong. And it definitely lacks true creative originality that deeply understands human culture. Ultimately, the most dangerous job in the economy right now belongs to anyone who assumes their role is simply too important to be automated. The absolute safest career move in this new era isn't just trying to hide behind a human moat, it's furiously stacking your deep domain expertise with advanced AI skills. You want to be the human directing the fleet of agents, not the one competing against them. I want to leave you with this provocative thought. If your company could successfully replace 50% of its workers with AI tomorrow without losing a drop of quality, do you think they'd even hesitate? Let me know your honest thoughts on this scenario down in the comments below. Keep questioning things, keep adapting, and stay focused as this AI native economy takes hold. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll catch you in the next one.